Today, for a change, I'd like to speak on behalf of the greater self. You know, it has occurred to most of you here, wondering what is going on, how did you get here, and why is life the way it is? And so I have 20 minutes, and I'd like to explain it. I am sure most of you are not bereft of any opinion on the subject. Those especially who have walked through these doors have dabbled and sought and are seekers and have found what you have found. But I'm going to give you another version of it, as there are many of us. And I want to get into this subject by talking about the I Ching. The I Ching is the oldest book in existence. It is a Chinese book, and it is an oracle book. It purports to explain why things are the way they are in your life. You can consult the book. It will give you answers. When I first ran across this book in the early 1970s, it occurred to me that it was like the Delphic oracle, where you could go to Delphi if you were of sufficient stature, ask the questions, and the priestesses would give you the answers. They were the mediums of their day. And I thought, wow, the Course in Miracles is like the Delphic oracle, except we can ask it today. The Course in the I Ching, which is called the Book of Changes, appeared first in the West, brought back by the Jesuit missionaries who had gone to China to Christianize the Chinese race. They met with failure. There was a whole lot of them, and they thought, here we are. We have the truth. We're going to give these heathen, these people over there, the truth, and we're all going to become Christians. That was their intent. The Chinese already had their point of view about the truth. And the I Ching sat at the center of their extraordinary metaphysics. And what it said was this. It was called the Book of Changes. The I Ching said that life is change. And by consulting the book, you would be able to find out what is going on in your particular situation. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what time of the universe you are in incarnation. That there are only a certain number of possible situations for human beings to experience here. For this is a school. It is not disorder. It is contained, and it is purposive. Well, the Jesuit missionaries from the Catholic Church spent, I think, maybe 30 years in China, a long time. And when they finally came back to the Holy See, to the Vatican, Rome, they brought that book with them. And they said, this book is true. Whereupon the Franciscans, who had a bone to pick with the Jesuits, stood up and said, heresy. And if those Jesuit priests did not denounce the book and say it wasn't true, they were kicked out. Such is religion. A set of rules, a set of principles upon which truth is confined and limited. Later on, Leibniz, the extraordinary mathematician, he had developed the binary system of numbers. The West had used the decimal system from the Arabs, 1 through 10, and we use that as the basis of our counting. Leibniz, quote, on his own, but none of us are truly on their own, had come up with a binary system of numbers, which is the very basis of computers. On, off, yes, no, click, click, duality, duality, duality. And when when somebody gave him a copy of the I Ching, he was stunned. Here it was, this book from China was based on the same principle of duality that he had come up with the binary system of numbers. Duality in the I Ching is yielding lines, firm lines. Firm lines in the duality manifest and represent the masculine. The broken line, the yielding, represents the yin, the feminine. Both of these are necessary for creation. Now, the context of the I Ching, the Book of Change, is the non-changing. That which is. That which is unmanifested. That which existed before and after the worlds. That which is a source of everything, including us. And when the one, when the unmanifested came into manifestation, it did so in duality. For without the poles of physical reality, there is no physical reality. Without the negative and positive polarities, there is no creation. There is no electricity. There is no energy. There is no manifestation. There is no body. There is no thinking. There is no history. There is nothing. But when the one went into the two, because it wanted to manifest, when love wanted to manifest in the many, it did so. And what happened was this. It was unexpected what happened. Even the all-knowing did not expect what was going to happen, because this has never happened before. As the pressures to come into manifestation mounted, it's like a pregnancy, pushing, 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 and finally birth of the manifested existence was given and became, two things happened. The split into duality, and it was traumatic. It was traumatic. The feminine energy, which we know is the negative, was reticent about coming in at the time. It did not feel that time was right. It was holding back. It was holding back till it felt comfortable with what was about to happen. The male polarity wanted to go. It's the active polarity. It wanted to have what it did not yet have. It wanted to experience what was yet to be experienced. And so the male polarity pushed. And what happened could be summed up in the following words. All hell broke loose. The male polarity felt in a reality it had never experienced before. It had only known, the universe had only known oneness. Total peace, total love, no fear, total completion. And the split in duality shoved the male polarity into something it had never experienced, could not get out of, giving rise to the feeling of being trapped. The feminine polarity split off from the male polarity, from the positive, felt alone and abandoned. And those two experiences lie at the very root of our relationships, and of our duality, and of our experience as gender. They are being healed right now. The healing is not easy, for it must go back to all those feelings, bring them into experience, and release them into the oneness that they are. That was the first level, when spirit became matter. I said I was going to explain to you your particular situation. It has meaning for your situation, but I think each one of you has an individuation that can't be explained by that broad metaphysics that I've just given you. So when you came into when we birthed as spirit into physical incarnation, what happened? Whew. Again, trauma. Okay? Trauma. The second birth was this, I'm not going to say it was as traumatic as the first, but it certainly was a shock. We had no idea who we were. We were pure spirit. Everything is spirit. Everything is God. Everything is source. Everything is joy. Everything is light. Everything is love. But the sense of birth is a state of apparent separation into individuation, which is what each one of us is here today. Each one of you is a representation of the individuation that you have chosen as God to experience physical reality. And so when we came into this, we were like a blank slate. The mind, the human mind, became aware. Like this. A blank disk. Empty megabytes. Empty, yet on, off. Duality, on, off, to be filled up with information. About what? About your particular individuation. And when you came into creation this time, as an individual, the data started flowing at you. You had no context within which to put it in. It was experience, experience, experience. And generally, it was fear, loneliness, lack of control. And you began collating, putting information, mother, father. If you didn't have a mother, that was there too. And if you didn't have a father, that was there too. And if you had a mother, that particular mother was there too. And if you had a father, that particular father and what he represented to you was that there too. Everyone has one of these. Your brothers and sisters, your fathers and mothers, your children have one of these. So different from yours, it makes us even feel more separate, more alone, more in a state of disarray and disunion. This is how we got to where we are today. This is where we are, because we are creators. And the combination of our ability to create, which is part, why do we have the ability to create? We're part of the Creator. And we were made in the image of God. And so, this power, combined with our dish, creates a very reflection of what we believe to be true. And notice I use the word believe. Your world is an outpicturing of your belief systems. I read something where God said, you know, I know how most of you see your fathers. Remote, controlling, judgmental. Sort of reminds me of the way you view me. And here we are. This reminds me of Louis C.K.'s little monologue on Saturday Night Live, this duality between the male and female. And he was out there, you know, it's a Saturday Night Live, and he was going, you know, I don't believe in God. I don't know about God. I don't know about this at all. He's being very truthful. And he said, but that's just me. He said, now heaven, that just blows my mind. And he said, does anybody here believe they're going to heaven? And he's in the audience. He looks down, there's a woman sitting there. He goes, you? And obviously she says yes. Says, you believe you're going to heaven? She goes, yes. How old are you? She says 22. He goes, isn't that amazing? She's 22 years old. She thinks she's got a lock. All right? He says, what is the story? Oh, we have a story that we're here, that God is here, and we're His children. He said, I have one question. Where's Mom? Where's Mom? He said, I have the feeling that she's underneath the porch somewhere. We're going to find her in a refrigerator. This is because of what happened when we went through the separation. When we went through the separation, the polarities separated and began fighting. It was so traumatic. It wasn't a matter of right and wrong, because each polarity was true to its own sense and experience. This is where we are today, at the moment of the vast healing. And you within yourselves have to start that healing. God is, I want to say something about this time. These times are so more significant than you can believe. We are at a time in the evolution of consciousness and history that has never been before. We have gone through two extreme births. The birth of the unmanifested into manifestation with all its attendant trauma. And as individuals, we have had another birth, an individual birth, time and time again, into individuation with all its attendant trauma. There's the third birth of which we are a part. And this is the birth of back into oneness. We have never left that oneness. But because of the power of our consciousness and the power of the sense of separation, and those on this planet who have used that power for their own power to confuse us and to lead us into their own boxes, we are in a state of extraordinary disarray. We have lost sight of the Creator. Now, have we lost the Creator? How can you? Without the Creator, there's no creation. And what are you a part of? Creation. But the thoughts that we have aren't necessarily true. Some of them are. They truly are. I read something where Swedenborg, when he went to the other side, that he saw, and God told him, he said, you know, all the religions of the world are like jewels on my crown. And I thought, really, that's terrible. Those things are basically a crown of thorns. Because the way I saw it, it caused great suffering. If you look at all the major differences on the planet this time, there's a religious basis between it. And not only between Muslim and Christian, between sects of Muslims. And not only between Muslims and Christians, between sects of Christians. Believer and non-believer. Why? Because with this, our mind, we have learned to separate. We have learned to break down. We have learned to put over here and put over there. When in truly, it is a state of oneness. And this is where we are today. This is the third birth. And the birth is trauma, like the first two. But it's not going to be traumatic like the first two. It's a different trauma. It's the trauma to your ego. Your ego is contained on this disc. On this disc is contained everything you think you are. Your gender, your personality, your religion, your beliefs, your unworthiness, or worthiness. Irrespective of what it is on this disc. And because our experience is so contained on that disc, we think the body is merely there for this. The body is the temple of God. But where is God? Where is the Creator? The Creator is the disc. The Creator is the mind. The Creator is all of it. All of it. But we are that too. We are the Creator. What has happened? What happened to us? We're stuck on that disc. We're stuck. We're looking up from that disc going, this is horrible, I'm going to lose my job. My mom never loved me, and I hate that asshole. And the Republicans blame the Democrats blame the Republicans. Let me assure you, from my cynical point of view, there's blame to go around. But that's where we are. We're trapped on that disc. But that God is moving. God is moving. The Creator is moving to bring us back into oneness. Whether we want to or not. We have moved to such an extreme state of separation that the very life of the universe is out of balance. We have pushed the earth into such an extreme state of imbalance, its very existence was threatened. I want to use the word past tense, was. It no longer is. It no longer is. The earth is going to do quite well. It is we who have to be concerned. But for those of us who know about Source and have fought their way to a better understanding of what this is all about, we are already on that path. And I want to read you something, some channelings that were given from a source. I just ran across them this week. But they're extraordinary. Because they talk about where we are. And this source, this channeling came from what is called the Council of Nine. They came from, I think they started in the 1950s. They were intermittent. And what I'm going to read you basically came, I think the first part came from in the 1970s. This is what they said to us as a collective, as individuals. We say to you, you have been created in the image of the Creator. The world has lost its identity with creation. What is of necessity to understand is the going forth and creating action and deed. It is that which brings you to completion in who you are. It is not enough to pray. It is not enough to gather groups of meditation. What is important is to act. Next transmissions are from 1991. What is happening has come about because of the awakening of humankind to the reality of where they have come to and the beginning of finding their divinity within. Is that not joyful? Also, humankind is now moving forward in increased unification and in bringing about the ending of conflict and aggression. The world conditions that create the situation of bondage. This does not mean that there is instant change, but change has begun its great movement forward. This is shown by the unification of nations that now understand that the destruction of one nation is in reality the destruction of others, and the beginning of all destruction. Also that the destruction of vital elements upon your planet Earth affects all. It is a time to be in great joy. There are times when one would feel despair that there is no forwardness. What is necessary now upon your planet Earth is for each of you to understand that you contain within you that element, that cell, that atom, that molecule, that soul part of you that is a part of the creation and the whole. And that you, in your evolutionary state of being, this time can create the energies necessary by yourself and in conjunction with others to stop further destructiveness. For as in times past, it was religion which led planet Earth, and it did serve its purpose. Now it is you, the peoples of planet Earth, that speak. You should be joyful in this and not feel burdened, as some of you seem to do. It is not a perfect time, we agree, but it is a time of greatness. And we are in gratefulness to you humans who are positive. For it is necessary for the completion and fulfillment of planet Earth for us to be in partnership with you. We find great joy in this time for the youth that are coming to planet Earth at this time and who have come in recent past. They are coming with a full understanding that they serve a purpose. Those who came and did not understand their purpose, it is now being revealed. Most people have been on planet Earth in times past, in times in which you came for your learning. In this time, many people have come to benefit planet Earth in conjunction with us, the spirit world, in service. We bless you for that. Many of you also must understand that you come from higher evolutionary levels that is of other civilizations that work in total peace and harmony with each other, and that have joined with all who are bringing planet Earth to its rightful direction. Know this also. Each of you humans contain the essence of what you term a star. And we have not revealed that before. You have existed in all eternity and will continue to exist in all eternity. What is necessary now is to understand that and the responsibility that goes with it. But it must be understood with joy, not with fear or despair. And it is now time to understand that you must not flagellate yourself when you make an error, but must move beyond it and remove and peel off that shell and let another light of yourself come through. And you must also understand that when you are in the presence of others, that you emanate an energy of light that touches and begins their awakening also. And when you create happiness and laughter in the universe, you create a great energy. The release of what you term darkness moves back, and the removal of that which holds the universe in darkness. Each of you human beings is a source of love and joy and laughter. God is light, so lighten up. Namaste.